Hey guys, welcome to Hurricane Ridge in Port Angeles, Washington in the Olympic National Park. This is one of my favorite spots, and this is the last spot I chose for my vacation today. Behind me you can see the bay in Port Angeles, and further out that land is Canada. And while I was here, I heard today that the Analogue Pocket was announced, so let's go find another spot to look at and talk about it. Okay, so for that price, you're going to end up getting the Analogue Pocket, which actually has two field programmable gate arrays. That's how this thing works. It's hardware emulation, not software, so it should be dead on accurate. It has a 1600 by 1440 display. Also has a 4300 milliamp battery, same as the Nintendo Switch, ironically, and has stereo speakers, a link cable, so you can link different devices together. USB-C charging. Does have a rapid charger, but you have to buy it separately, or if you buy the dock, which is $100, you will end up getting that. Some of the prices, I think they're fair for what they're putting up there and for the build of this thing. This thing actually has a Corning Gorilla Glass over the screen to protect it, but they're still selling the screen protector and things like that. The adapters are about $30 each, so the adapters right now supported are going to be for Game Gear, Lynx, and for the Neo Geo Pocket. They say it'll have a battery life of between 6 to 10 hours. If you're somebody that likes to create music using the Game Boy synthesizer, you're in luck. The program is right inside of it right off the bat, and there's going to be cables for you to USB to like MIDI cables to plug in. They're going to be supporting GB Studio, which you'll be allowed to like easily make your own games if that's something you want to do. And there's a second FPGA in there for just specifically for developers that want to make different cores. So that's pretty neat. You bet I'm going to try to get one as long as pre-orders don't go too quick, and we'll be doing a video on it. Unfortunately, it's not coming out until March of 2021, so it's going to be a while. So there's quite the wait on that. If I gotta be honest, man, I'm looking forward to the Analogue Pocket more than I'm looking forward to anything else. And this stems from my love of the Game Boy. I have this weird kind of like love with the original Game Boy because it was like my only game system that I can think of where I got it like at launch from my mom, okay, from my parents. And the system was really fun. Tetris was a great first introduction. I had Castlevania Adventure, which I loved. I know a lot of people don't like that one a whole lot, but I loved it. Super Mario Land, Super Mario Land 2, Kirby's Pinball Land, and all these games just like really, like Zelda, all these games just knocked it out of the park for me when it came to the Game Boy. Every single one just felt like it was solid gold. And then back in the day, you could rent games too for your Game Boy Advance. And I rented all these games like Batman, Ninja Turtles, Simpsons, but then there's like other ones that I played like I had forgot about until somebody mentioned it later, like Avenging Spirit, that had like really cool mechanics and stuff. But I never got to finish those because those were rented. I never owned them. And when you're not a well-off family, you can't go around asking for a bunch of games all the time. And I had a few games for the Game Boy. There's a stigma back then about portable gaming that it was not the complete experience that you were getting on the home console, right? Like, because the home consoles had colored graphics, they were slightly better, a little bit better sound in some cases, which in the Game Boy I would argue that because the Game Boy did have stereo capabilities. But that being said, that was the kind of stigma back then. So if you wanted the big boy games, you got it for like the NES, the Super Nintendo and stuff, right? When a birthday came up or something like that, a lot of times I was asking for a lot of games for my NES instead of my Game Boy, which I should have. So I shouldn't have followed into peer pressure as much, that stigma of like, you know, the games being complete games on the home consoles, because in all honesty, with what we were doing back then, as far as like financially or how we were doing back then, I could have gotten two of these instead of one Nintendo game back in the day and enjoyed it. And there's a couple of times I did go that route. But for the majority, I didn't really have a whole lot for my Game Boy. But man, I sure did love it, and I would love to go back and play a lot of those games that I missed or didn't get to finish again. So anyways, some of the things I'm excited about the Pocket, I wasn't originally sold on the dock, but a friend of mine actually brought up a pretty good point to me, that as much as I'm getting back into like retro gaming and stuff, it would make it a lot easier if I had a dock to hook up to a capture card to stream out to you guys. And I do want to share this stuff with you guys. It's not the newer stuff. Matter of fact, I'm going to be starting a whole thing on this channel called The Pile of Shame, which is me going back and trying old games and talking about it and what my experiences were and whether I enjoyed it or not. And it's just across all generations. So Having a device like that to dock my pocket and then get gameplay recordings is going to be a hell lot easier than trying to get like another device to do it or like a consoleized Game Boy. And I think a lot of people think that 200 bucks is a large asking price for the pocket by itself. But when you consider if you were to even just go back in a lot of cases and just buy all these systems like the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Advance, and then on top of that, the little extra cost for like the adapters, I would say in some cases you could probably like find a Game Gear for the same cost as the adapter. But stuff like the Lynx, the Neo Geo Pocket, you're going to pay more than you would for the adapter on that. And then if you want to get like at least somewhere similar to a screen, like something like a really nice backlit upgraded screen for your devices, and they make them for all these devices except no, they do make them for the Neo Geo as well. That's right, I have seen it before. You're gonna pay, and then when you figure the cost of all that, which this just does it natively, and it has a really nice IPS looking display, and it can do these really cool things like with its higher resolution displays. And they're going to be using that high resolution not only to give you like crispy pixels, but they're going to be using that high resolution to mimic the original displays. And it looks freaking cool. And apparently they're doing some really cool stuff with like some of the shading or something like that, some of the filters that they have in there to give you like the effect of the backlit screens of like the Game Gear and stuff like that. So I'm excited about that. And like, you know, it's just a cool techie thing, but I want to see it, and I'll probably play that way because I've been playing the Castlevania Adventures again on my Switch. That has like the old Game Boy grid style, and I think it looks cool. It looks really neat. I also am hoping that eventually they'll bring out a module for the Wonder Swan. I would love to see that, but not holding my breath on that one. But if you have to ask me which system I'm going to end up getting, out of the ninth generation, well, I already have the one I like the best, which is the uh, Nintendo Switch. I like this thing a lot. Now, as far as the PS5 and Xbox One X, I'm probably still leaning towards Xbox One X just as like sort of like a little upgrade or whatever you want to call it. But I don't know. PS5 will probably eventually happen. I'll probably have everything across the generation at one point or another. But I'm not looking to rush into it because there's just not a library of games going over. There kind of is for the Xbox One X because it's going to have like backwards compatibility and stuff like that. And it's going to be able to do really cool things like make old games work in HDR. And I'm excited about that. Or have games just like upscale to 4K, for instance. I think that's really cool. Where the PS5 doesn't have that. But PS5 seems to have more interesting games coming in a period of time. So basically, a lot of the stuff we saw, except for maybe Spider-Man Miles Morales, is not going to be at the launch of the PS5. It seems like they're going to be like 2021 or possibly even 2022 in some cases. So I got to ask myself, what's the priority there? And when it comes to the Xbox, I'm not going to go out and rush out for like a night launch or something like that, or even try to fight the crowds on getting a system, you know? When the fact is, I can just use my Xbox One X and play a lot of games on there, and I'll be happy with it for a while. They already said Halo Infinite's going to be running at 120 hertz on the X, so I got to imagine it's going to be running at 60 on the One X. And the fact that I was able to get this for the same price as a S, I'm happy for a while. It's a good system for a year. I'll be happy. I don't need to have the thing right away. So the only thing that's going to make me rush out for a new console right away is probably going to be a Nintendo system. Anything else, I can wait a year or two. I'm not in a hurry. And like I'm going through right now, there's a lot of games that have been out for years that I still haven't like played through all the way or played at all. And I'm having fun going through those. And it's going to be the same with the Game Boy games and stuff on the Analog Pocket. So if I have to pick between all those systems, my next gen, last gen system is going to be a Pocket before any of those guys. So anyways, you guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. Am I losing my mind? Is it old age or something making me want to go back to nostalgia? I don't know. But if you like this video, hit a thumbs up. If you want to see the Analog Pocket when it comes out, it's definitely going to be here on the channel. I'm definitely going to be talking about it and showing it off. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video where we're actually going to be finally talking about this guy, the Xbox Series 2 Elite Controller. It's one of those names that just doesn't roll off the tongue that easy. But yeah, I have opinions about this thing now, and just to give you a little heads up, this is actually the second one I had. The first one broke.